Here we go. You put a little bit of oil, depending how much rice you're gonna do. Garlic, onions, chopped so the oil can take flavor. And then we put a little bit of seasoned pork in it. Meanwhile, I have the gandules here with seasoned water. These are the ones from the pack. What you're gonna do after they're a little bit boiled and stuff, you're gonna use the same water to put it in your rice so it can have more flavor. Then you let that meat cook a little bit, saute it so we can start adjusting our flavor. Okay? Saute it. Make sure you have everything that you're going to use around in a little spot, so like that you don't have to be running or forgetting what to put in the rice. Then after it's cooked a little, right, you don't want to cook it all the way because it's going to cook with the rice. You use the special seasoning that Puerto Rican use, okay? This is sofrito. This is based on onions, garlic, green pepper, cilantro, especially a lot of onions and a lot of garlic. That's what's actually going to give your rice the flavor. That's our secret to our cooking. And this can never miss in a Puerto Rican house. This gives it color and it also gives it flavor. It's called Sazon Goya. You pour it there. And you let it simmer for a while. And then we're going to put tomato sauce and let it simmer a little bit with the tomato sauce. You don't have to use a lot of tomato sauce, okay? Because sometimes we leave the rice out. And if you usually keep your food out a long time, like overnight, then I would suggest you not to put a lot of salsa in it. Which is this, tomato sauce. It can be any kind of tomato sauce as long as it's tomato sauce, okay? And you pour it in. And you see it's already taking color. Okay. Okay, now what's going to happen, I'm going to take this pot here and dump it in here and let it simmer for a little while so the meat and everything I have in this pot here takes the flavor of the gandules. So we got the simmery going on. We have this boiling, and which I'm going to transfer this now to this pot. There we go. And now we're going to let it simmer. And then we put the rice and some salt. And if it needs a little bit more water, we'll put water in it. And then we let it get dry a little bit. And then we cover it. But so far, this is the mixing of the arroz con gandules. Okay, now that that's boiling, we washed our rice and we start pouring rice. Remember, I'm not using measurements, but if you're not going to do that much, you need to use measurements, okay? Then we turn it and toss it. It's looking like it's going to need a little bit more of water because it's too dry. We need to cover all the rice so the rice can get boiled in there and get cooked, or else it's going to take a long time. Don't put too much water because and then it's going to be all soggy when the rice is cooked. Okay, this is how much water I put in now. See, it's not much, it's just a little bit. Make sure that everything is covered. Now, when the rice is like this, once you mix all the water, everything is in it. Remember, you're putting seasoned stuff in it, so don't use salt until you get to this part here. Then you taste the water, and if it needs a little bit of seasoning or if it needs a little bit of salt, then you add the salt. As you see, it's getting dried a little bit. For me, it's taking a little bit longer to get dry. I have it very low because my stove is acting up. There are times that I have it like on very low, and all of a sudden I look and it's high. So that's why it's taking, I have it very low, so it won't get burned in the bottom. We don't want the rice to get burned in the bottom. If it gets burns in the bottom, it's gonna taste real nasty. So it'll stick to the bottom but not burn. That's what we want. So it's drying right here. We're gonna wait till everything on top is dry, almost dry. This is how the rice is cooking now. It's boiling, so it's gonna cook a little bit more, and then we cover it, and then the vapor, it'll cook out with the vapor and stuff. But it's a waiting process now, waiting for it to get dried a little bit so we can go ahead, turn it, and then cover it, and then you leave it there at least for a good bit, and then you come back and check it and turn it again. The reason we turn it is so the rice don't stay uncooked. So we want the vapor, the heat that's in the bottom to take the rice that's on top and cook it. So that's why we don't turn it much, but we turn it maybe 2 times. The first time when it gets dried up, and then you let it cook for another 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then you turn it again and leave it there. It's going to take you an approximately, depending the amount of rice that you put in there, 40 minutes, 45, depending, like I said, on the rice and the water. If you put a little bit of water, you're going to have a hard time. It's not going to get cooked well. All you got to do is watch your measurements. That will tell how it comes out, okay? You see the process, how it's getting dried. Sometimes I don't wait for it to get dry all the way if I like it very moist. Not soggy, but moist. I'll go ahead and cover it with a little bit less water than what it is now. But I would suggest you not to move it until it's almost completely dry. So you could put the rice that's not cooked in the bottom when you turn it. Okay, you see how it got dried up? You still got juice on the sides. This is as much I'm gonna let it get dry so I can cover it so that little bit of juice can simmer while it's covered, and it'll keep cooking the rice. Once the rice is done, the gandules right here, they're gonna be a little bit darker. Don't expect to see them green. They might stay green like that, the color, because they are from pack, but when you use the can, they're gonna be very dark. I like to use the gandules in the pack when I'm cooking arroz con gandules because, one, you can boil them and it gives it more flavor. And you can season it as you want. And second, the rice stay more moist. It keeps the moisture on the rice. And there goes your rice. Now I'm gonna let it cover it and let it cook for a while. There goes the rice cover. And one tip, one advice, when you are cooking Puerto Rican food, we use a lot of condiments and stuff. Make sure that you keep your area clean, because by the time you finish, you're gonna have a mess in the sink. Okay, here we go. This is our first turn of the rice. See how pretty that rice came out. Just turn it, make sure that you keep turning it so you could get whatever is cooking the bottom on top, and what's not cooked, you could get it in the bottom. Just make sure you turn it good. It smells good so far. Look how pretty. It's moist and it's not burnt. So my stove behaved good today, and I'm glad she did. See how pretty? It smells good. And now we cover it again so it can finish cooking.